Hello, my beautiful people. It's Lena. I'm back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. And really, welcome back because I'm here. We're doing this. We're going back. I promised I would do it, and here I am. I'm going to review, and just like that, season 1, because I did not review it at all. I only started reviewing season 2, and here we are. We're going back into time. I'm going to call this one The Day That Exercise Died. Yes. And just like that, season 1, episode 1. Now, let's go back into time. I want you to relax. I want you to think back. I want you to remember that moment when you realized that they were going to start this show up again, and all of us were wondering how this was going to work. We all knew at this point that Kim Cattrall wanted nothing to do with the show or didn't want to come back to the show. It's December 2021. We're all pretty much getting out of the COVID nightmare. Masks were down, but not mandated to be taken off until 2022, but we were pretty much all unmasked at this point. The months are coming before December. We're all questioning, what is this show going to be about? What are they going to talk about? How is this going to work? December comes, the show starts. We all tune in. We're all wondering, this might be interesting. We're all a little scared. I know I was. Maybe some were excited. I don't know. But we tuned in, and the show starts. And as the opening begins, in the first 2 minutes of the show, I don't know about you, but for me, I realized this is not going to work at all. I didn't know how bad the descent to hell was going to happen. But from the beginning, opening scene, I was like, yeah. And it just got worse. Seriously. So let's go. The scene opens. Carrie and the two other girls, Miranda and Charlotte, who I coined the phrase now, the 3 ding-dongs, are waiting to be seated at a restaurant. This is the first time we see them. We haven't seen them in a while since the movie, together as the characters. And they're talking nonsense. Of course, I didn't realize that the nonsense talking was going to be throughout the entire 2 seasons, but here we go. I had hope. I'm going to flip between what I felt at that time and what I know now. So this is going to be a combination of the two. They're complaining, or not complaining. They're talking about, oh, do you remember with COVID when we had to wear masks? And I'm like, okay, here we go. Now, at that point, yes, I felt that way. And now I'm realizing, wow, it's been a while. That was a real hard time for us. The next scene is one of the characters that were in the series, Bitsy Mon Muffling, who I now say Bitsy Mom Pimpalong because she's a pimp in season 2. Go watch my review on that. I'll put it down below and you'll understand if you haven't watched it why I call her a pimp. She goes up to the ladies and she says, oh, it's so good to see you. And what do we do now? Do we hug? Do we kiss? Do we elbow? I don't know. We're in such a crazy world. And we're talking about COVID again. And then she asks, where is the 4th musketeer? And everybody knows who that is. And she says, where's Sam? And I'm like, okay, what are they going to say? Charlotte turns around and says, Samantha's not with us anymore. And at that second, I was like, oh my God, they killed Samantha off. Miranda says, no, that's not. She's in London. She moved to London. Okay. Still watching. Not sure where we're going with this, but okay, we're in London now. Sure. I thought this was it. I thought that was the whole thing that we're going to talk about Samantha. God, I wish that was it. But it doesn't get any better. Stay tuned. So Bitsy Mom Pimpalong leaves after she finds out where Samantha is, and she kind of tells them, hey, sexy 60 sirens are still viable in London. I'm like, oh God. And the ageism starts. 3 minutes into the show. And I'm already shaking my head. And you know what? I'm still shaking my head after I just watched it again. Oh my God. I kind of blocked this out. Okay. So now we have the ladies, three of them, the three ding dongs, seated at the restaurant. And the next line comes from Miranda. I woke up this morning and I stepped on my son's condom. Okay. Everybody, well, Charlotte and Carrie is trying to change the subject, and Miranda decides to tell us in detail. Did you hear me? I woke up this morning and I stepped on my son's semen in his bedroom. It's just like a random act. That what is happening? Why are you telling us this? And how old is Brady now? Because I'm not even sure. We haven't seen Brady yet, so clearly he's using protection. And why she's going into his room, I have no idea. I don't go into my son's room ever. Not unless I'm knocking. And apparently his girlfriend's there. And they're having sex. Still no Brady. But I got a lot of context. Thank you. As Carrie tries to change the subject, Charlotte asks Miranda, well, no, Carrie asks Miranda, when is she going back to school? Okay. So she's going back to Harvard to get her humanitarian degree. Charlotte asks her, is she going to color her hair? Why does she let her hair go gray? I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't even notice. I think she actually looked better with the gray, to be honest with you. And Charlotte berates her about her letting her hair go gray and that it ages her. And I'm like, 5 minutes into the show, and here we go. Miranda berates Charlotte now about the fact that she's trying to de-age with all the work that she has done. And Charlotte says, I'm not trying to de-age. I'm happy to be 56 years old, 56 years old, 56. Literally in her high voice, she can't even speak. Carrie's like, do you want a medal? And she's like, can I get a medal? Can I get a medal? I'm like, what is happening in this show? And who are these ladies? Do you remember when they used to talk at the table in the restaurant? They had actually interesting conversations. I really started to lose my mind at this point. I'm like, okay. We know that Samantha is in London. Brady is having sex and throwing his condom with his semen on the floor in his bedroom, where his mother decides to walk in and step on it with her bare feet and decides to tell the ladies at the table, because this is what we talk about now. And on top of that, each one of them, except for Carrie, is talking about how they don't want to age, or their age, and this, and the hair, and the hair, and the hair, and the I'm like, who peed in your cornflakes, Michael Patrick King? What is happening? So Miranda goes into the speech about she shouldn't have to worry about her hair, her age, her looks, and there's more important things in the world about her hair, her age, her looks. Charlotte says, well, Ruth Bader Ginsburg dyed her hair. And Carrie says, mic drop. I'm presuming that this is Miranda's idol. I'm presuming that I should just stab my eyes out at this point, because I really don't care about any of this conversation at all. And this is 7 minutes into the show. Suddenly, Charlotte gets up to go to the ladies' room. When I don't even remember hearing Carrie and Miranda speak. I think I really blocked it out, not just the first time, but guess what? This time too. When Charlotte returns from the ladies' room, apparently she met this person, LTW, which at this point I didn't know who she was. And when I went back to watch this, I was like, oh, okay, I know who that is now. It's Lisa. You know, Charlotte's other clone. And she bumped into her into the ladies' room. She calls her LTW. And apparently in this ladies' room, in this restaurant, you are presented with people's resumes. Because we haven't seen LTW yet Charlotte has rattled off every single thing about this woman from the ladies' room. That she is a documentarian, her husband is an investment banker who is possibly running for mayor, and that their kids go to school together, and her son is going to be playing the piano at the recital that Lily's having that week on Friday. Tell me where this ladies' room is, because I don't want to go there. I was like, why is this person significant? Until Miss Lisa LTW shows up at the table after going to the ladies' room to say hi again to Charlotte and introduces herself to the other two ladies. In the midst of the crap conversation, yet again, between the four of them now, I'm like, oh my God, please don't tell me this is not going to be the new Samantha, because really I'm going to just throw myself out the window. Had I known what was coming, I would have just said nothing. LTW, Lisa, looks at the table and asks, whose fries are those? And she says, can I have one? Don't do that. I don't like that. Don't take my food. Now, I don't mind sharing my food, but don't do that. I don't like that. Don't take my food. Carrie says, oh, but it's cold, but you can have one. Okay. No. Did the writers give up before the writers' strike? Because nothing in the last 10 minutes of this show has captured me at all. And I'm getting worried at this point. Really. I said, okay, it's 10 minutes in. We got 20 minutes more. Okay, let's do this. Next scene, after they leave the restaurant and they leave Charlotte and LTW together at the restaurant, Carrie and Miranda are walking outside, and Miranda says, it's like she's really dead, you know. And I'm like, we never talk about her. And it's about Samantha. And now we get the full story of the Samantha in London. Apparently, Carrie fired Samantha from being her publicist because of the book industry the way it is now. It didn't make any sense to keep her. And that when she fired her, Samantha in turn fired her as a friend. Okay. Miranda says, you know, Samantha's pride got hurt. I'm like, that's not true. That's not anything that Samantha has ever known to be prideful like that. But okay, let's see where we're going with this. She tells her that she's been trying to reach out to her, and, you know, she doesn't answer anyone. All the ladies have tried talking to her, texting her, pick up the phone, nothing. So that is the story of Samantha not being in their lives anymore. She was upset because she got fired from Carrie, the one that she pulled out her diaphragm with her fingernails, the one that has been supportive of her the entire series in the big affair, the Aiden debacle, everything. So she fired her as a publicist. What did she do? Did she, like, send her a text or something? Like, it didn't make any sense. But what choice did they have? None of these things make sense anymore. I don't even know what's happening. Then they say goodbye to each other, and that's the last real scenes between the three of them together at this point in juncture. So let's break off to the three ding-dongs. I'll throw in the honorable mentions that are peppered into this story, plus the new characters that I really don't give a fairy rat's behind. Not then, not now, not season 2, and God help us, season 3. Okay, Miranda is going to her class. She gets out of the subway and she stops off in a bar. I say this because I didn't understand what was going on at this point, and we all know what happens later. She goes into the bar is open, and she sits down and asks for a glass of, I think, Chardonnay. The bartender says, we're not open yet. Then why the hell did you let her come in and sit down? And she says, we're not open. He says, we're not open until 12 o'clock. And she looks at her phone, it's 11:45. She's like, okay, I'll wait. Still, a little odd. Didn't think much of it. Then we see her going to the classroom. She walks into the room and she starts to sit down in one of the seats, and one of the children that are there tells her that's where the professor sits. And in comes character number one that I don't care. She says, "Oh, I'm sorry." So she goes and sits across the other seat, and then a woman walks in and sits down at the chair where she was going to sit, and Miranda tells her, "Hey, hey, that's where the professor sits." The woman turns around. She says, "I am the professor." And then from there, the descent to hell for Miranda's life goes down the hill. She makes a complete ass of herself by saying, "Oh my God, I didn't recognize you. Your hair," because she's wearing braids. And the professor says, "Well, what's wrong with my hair?" She goes, "You just look different. The braids, you don't look like you did in the website." And of course, the professor berates her to try to get more out of the stupidity that is the descent of Miranda because she's drunk. And Miranda just keeps going on and on. "Oh, it's not because it's black hair." And I'm like, what is happening? "Oh, that's right. She's drunk. Can you please sit next to her and taste it and smell her breath because she's a little cuckoo in the head. She's drunk." And she just goes on and on about the hair and being black. And I took this class because you're black. And the professor just keeps going on. "You took this class because I'm black?" And I'm like, could you stop this, please? Miranda finally shuts up. Okay. Well, that was 15 minutes into the show. And I'm still in shock. But there's so much more to come, isn't there? Next ding dong. Charlotte from the restaurant goes home with her Oscar de la Renta dresses. And I say Oscar de la Renta because the product placement in this series is unreal. She buys the 2 dresses for her 2 daughters because it's Lily's recital, and she wants them all to wear floral dresses because apparently being the 3 amigos at any age is cute. Charlotte. We first now see Lily, who at this point was still sweet. I don't know what the hell happened to her after, but this was not the Lily that came about the last 18 episodes. Richard Burton, the dog, is there. I don't know what happened to Elizabeth Taylor. I can only presume she passed away, but they never say anything. Not that I'm aware of, or I was listening, or I could have been in a coma. So she shows Lily the dress. Harry and Rose come in, and she shows Rose the dress. This is the first time we see Rose, first time we've seen Harry. And Rose doesn't like the dress. And literally, Charlotte's story arc is trying to get Rose to wear the Oscar de la Renta floral dress so they all look the same on the day of Lily's recital. She finally convinces her to wear the dress. And when I say convince, it was a fight. And so the next scene you see with Charlotte and Harry and Rose and Lily is going to the music school outside, and you see them walking, and what Rose put on over the dress was this. What is this? What is happening? Is this cool? That's not cute. No, I'm all for not having to be looking like every single person in your family. You don't need to dress like the 3 crazy amigos. You can style it up however you wish, but this is not style. Now, if there's someone out there that has a child that dresses like this and you think it's cute, I'm sorry. But just, I'm sorry. And again, context. I don't understand what's happening. This is me back then. Now I know, but back then I'm like, what? And what is this? Why is she fighting her? What's going on? I understand fighting Charlotte, but just in general, that's cute. Okay. So they're all in front of the music school for Lily's recital. So let's leave them there because now we need to go and deal with ding dong number 3. Carrie from the restaurant goes home, and Big is there. And they play the Carrie Big song. You know, that little humming. I'm not sure if I'm doing it right, but you know what I mean. He's in the kitchen cooking because, again, I don't care what anybody says. Carrie is phenomenally wonderful in finding men to cook for her. She is amazing. And they're doing their little dance, listen to his records, and they're kissing. And she asks him if he wants to go to the recital on Friday and can they delay their trip to the Hamptons because she has to go to Lily's recital. And he says no, he wants to stay home and be on his Peloton. Again. Okay. Carrie, next scene is at her new gig, which is a podcast. And this is where we meet Che. Now, I don't know anything about this. Now I do. And guess what? It still enrages me, whether I did know or not, because this whole podcast was ridiculous. They're talking about, there's Che, this other character, Jackie, and then Carrie. Che is making it known that she's non-binary, and she's asking around the room, where was the last place you masturbated? Because Jackie saw someone on the train jerking off just this morning. Now, Che's response was, I like to go to Yankee Stadium, put a hat on, and watch everyone confused on who I am. And that's my masturbation. I'm a Yankee fan. So, thanks. Jackie says something stupid about the J train, the jerking off with the J, and that's the last thing he saw, and that he saw someone on the A train, and A stands for anal, and Carrie says that's why I don't ride the A train. Who's writing this? Whether I see it now or 2 years ago, I still don't know what the hell's going on. I'm like, this is stupid. I don't want to even watch or hear this podcast at all, ever. Like, stop it. It's not good. Still not funny. So Che asks Carrie what was the last time she masturbated, and she gets all bumbly talking. She can't speak. She doesn't want to talk about it. And she says something about Barney's. That was the last place. And Jackie says, what's a Barney's? And then Carrie says, now that's offensive. And I'm like, no, this is offensive that you're asking us to listen to this crap. Next scene, you see Carrie going to the elevator from the building of the podcast, and Che goes behind her, and they get into the elevator, and Che starts to light up a pipe, which I presume can only be weed, which to me is very strange. Not that she's smoking weed, it's just that, are you not allowed to smoke anything in any building in any way, shape, or form, not even an elevator? I'm just asking. Did the rules change and I just missed it? She asks Carrie if she wants a hit. Carrie says, no, thank you. You better take a hit, because what's coming next is you're going to need more than that. Che goes on to tell her that she needs to be more open about sex and her sexual experiences, and for some reason Carrie says that she is not comfortable with talking about it. She's more comfortable writing about it. This is where they start trying to make us believe that Carrie doesn't speak anything about sex to anyone other than her 3 friends at the time, which were the other original 3 friends. Che says, no, I think you got something in you. She goes, you need to step up your pussy. Carrie says, I need to what? And I'm like, she's what? You need to step up your pussy. What, up a ladder? Like, what does that mean? And Carrie starts to get all bravo about it. Oh, I need to step up my pussy. Yes. And I'm like, no, what are you doing? What's happening? Okay. Not much more to show to go, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got to step up my pussy. I've got a condom with semen on the floor. I've got hair problems. I've got dress problems, and just problems. Okay. She goes home to Big. She starts thinking about stepping up her pussy, and then she walks into the bedroom where Big is laying down, and she asks if he masturbates. he doesn't want to answer the question, and then he asks her, do you? And she says yes. And he's like, can I join you the next time? And she says, I want you to do it now. And I'm like, please don't. Please, God, no. Don't let us see this, please. And he starts to masturbate, and I'm like, okay, this is where the show is going. Fun. Thankfully, he stops in time where we don't really see anything, and he grabs her, and I guess they make love. Then we see Carrie getting dressed to go to the recital, so I'm presuming it's Friday. She takes out her wedding shoes. And again, I'm not thinking anything about this. It doesn't resonate with me. She sees Big sitting at the window of their apartment while he's smoking a cigar. And he's not going to the recital, but he's going to be smoking his monthly or weekly cigar. And that night he's going to be riding his Peloton. She walks away to say goodbye, and she turns around and he's looking at her. And this is when the most poignant scene at that time that I didn't realize is where he looks at her and he says, I'm just looking at you. I'm not gonna lie, this one was hard. Rewatching it was hard. So then we have Carrie going over to the recital, and she's outside and she's with Anthony. Now we get the honorable mentions, more of them. Anthony is waiting by himself because he left Stanford at the house because he couldn't decide what he wanted to wear, so he left them. And then we see Stanford, Willie Garson. He was really there. He was really alive at this time. He gets out of the car and he walks up to Anthony, and they're both yelling at each other, and he's upset because Anthony left him. And I'm thinking, yep, normal, healthy relationship, great marriage. Seems about right. Stanford leaves. They all go into the recital. They sit down. And then, for some reason, Miranda pulls out a full bottle of wine with glass. Plastic glass, but glass. Well, cup. Full glass, like this, like a big one, like this. I was like, girl, that's big. Like, I wouldn't even do that. Unless I'm going to my friend's house. And Charlotte gets upset with her, but yet everybody but Charlotte wants a glass because they know what they're in for. They're like, oh, this is a recital. We know this is going to suck. These kids are sucky. LTW comes, and her husband. We get to meet her husband and her mother-in-law, who is typical a bitch because they can't write any mother-in-law to be anything but a bitch. They all sit down. LTW's son is the first one to do the recital. He starts and he sucks. The mother-in-law is upset because she's upset because she wants better for her grandchildren. Okay? Recital starts with Lily then. Lily is phenomenal. Are you shocked? I'm not. And this is where the crazy starts. Well, you know what I mean. Now they're starting to bounce back and forth between Lily playing and Big on the Peloton. And I say this like this because at this point, and I'm going back where I remembered how I saw this, I had still no clue what was going on. Didn't resonate with me. Why are they bouncing back and forth between him and a Peloton and Lily playing? I didn't even think anything about it. I was like, this is a weird scene, but you know, okay, this is a weird show. At this point, I'll go back and forth if we have to. And then we see Big getting off the Peloton, and then you see that he feels uncomfortable. Still, nothing in my head is going, danger, danger, danger. Suddenly, he texts Carrie to, we're gonna go tonight. Let's go tonight. So that indicates to her that she's not gonna stop off after the recital to have drinks with anyone, because that's what she asked him to do. If you want to go tonight, please text me. Then he drops the phone, and then he grabs his arm, and then the face that he puts, he falls down. Sorry, guys. It's still hard. And it's not because I know that the actor is still alive. That's not why I feel this way. I'll explain in a minute. The recital finishes. Carrie gets out. She tells Stanford that she can't have drinks with him. He wants to stay over the apartment. He already has the keys, so he doesn't really need her keys. She gets into the cab, and I'm still thinking at this point, okay, the reason why they're showing this is because she's going to make it home on time, and this probably is just going to be him recuperating, and something happens to him, you know, in the series. I'm not thinking anything else. Carrie walks into the apartment. The shower is running, and she walks up to the shower, and she takes a few seconds for her to hit her. And I'm thinking the same thing myself, because you see him, and then he looks up, and then you could tell they did a really good job with him, that like the life was leaving him, and he just looks at her as if this was the love of his life. So she screams out, "John," and she runs to him. And this is where everyone, the fans, start screaming, I'm sure, because I didn't think of this at all until everybody started saying it. She should have called 911. Now, I don't know what I would do if I saw that. I would think that I would call 911, but she screamed. She gets onto the floor, and she's holding him. And I can't imagine what anybody would feel if this was happening to them. We've all suffered loss. I know I have. So this just brought that back, the trauma. Even now. And again, it's not because of the actor or because of this character. It was just that moment when you're like, oh crap, it's over. Still didn't think so. Believe it or not, when I saw her on the floor and she was holding him, I'll just let the pictures do the rest. As I try to get regrouped here. And then the last line is, and just like that, Big died. If you felt lost before, you felt that. That was hard. I know it's crazy that I'm crying. You think back at that moment, that void in your life. Okay. So, this is when exercise died. Because I went to bed, I woke up, I turned on the news, and this was the first thing every news channel was talking about. Apparently nothing else happened that day. Peloton killed big. Peloton, the brand, is in the shitter. Stock fell. People were flipping out. I thought I was the only one that was like, what? No. I think it was like maybe a month before I saw anybody jogging and running in the streets. It was all that anyone could talk about. I don't remember a show doing this for a long time. And I just kept thinking to myself, where is this show going? No Samantha and now no Big? I couldn't, it took me a couple of days. I'm like, whoa. I think for the majority of people, they tuned in for the second episode because they wanted to know the aftermath of Big. Because right after that episode, nothing else really made the show even better. This was hard. So I'm sorry. We're going back into time and we're going into the present, and it still affects me. So we need to stay tuned for the next episode, season, and now season 3. Big is gone. Samantha is in London. Miranda is a crackpot, Charlotte is a robot, and Carrie is lost. And then we get to see the three other characters that are peppered into the show. And then we have Anthony and Stanford. And then shortly thereafter, Willie Garson's passing. So I am now going to film the funeral, which is season 2. I hope to have this up tonight. I have to get through it. Hopefully I won't be crying like a little baby on screen as I'm trying to smile and get through this. But we need to get through these next 2 episodes, because then I think the more funnier descent to hell starts from that point on. And then the other characters come in, and then I have to have more alcohol. Maybe that's what I need to do. So thank you everyone for all the comments, for voting and making this decision for me to review season 1, because I asked if I received at least 10 comments that I would do season 1, and I received, I believe, 15 or 16, even close to 20. I am going to do Desperate Housewives. I have never seen the show. I think I've only seen 2 parts, 2 or 3 episodes. But I want to get through this. I want to get through this as quickly as possible. I am off for the rest of the next 3 days, so I'm going to try to film as many as possible. So I want to thank everyone who commented, shared, liked, subscribed. And by the way, my subscriber numbers are low, but my viewing hours are 6,700. So I'm impressed, even though I have, I think, I'm going to say 125 subscribers now. And I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad that you all enjoyed it and you tuned in and you're coming back and you're voting, and we're going to go through this, and I'm getting my mojo back because I just had to get that out because it was just very tough, and I apologize, but I hope you guys understand that sometimes death, however, in whatever form, in whatever person's life, hits everyone very differently. So I hope everyone enjoyed this. This was hard to make funny because it really wasn't so funny as it was shocking, annoying, concerning, and sad. So stay tuned for season 1, episode 2. Have a wonderful and blessed day. Goodbye.